Welcome to Denver, Colorado, home of the Denver Broncos and Empower Field at Mile High Stadium. There you see it, the final 38-10 as the Lions, who are depleted on both sides of the ball due to COVID-19 illness and injury, they fall 38-10. Alongside Lomas Brown, I'm Dannie Rogers. Yeah, you just saw the final. I mean, depleted on both sides of the ball, but we're going to hear from the head coach, Dan Campbell, first. Let's go to him.
Credit Denver. They played a good game, came out and did what they needed to do to control that game and get a win.
It was one of the disappointing parts about it. You guys have been so good run defense leading up to this one, and they kind of had your way with you early and throughout the game. Was that one of the more disappointing parts of this one, just the way they were able to control it on the ground?
Yeah, it was. And, and we made too many mistakes. We were guys aren't in the proper gaps. We're not lined up right. We're it wasn't clean. It wasn't real clean.
Coach, I know you're not big into making excuses or anything, but just entering this game, obviously 6 guys, get on the COVID list, the battling flu throughout the week. Can you just talk about the preparation and being hit with so many guys out for a game?
I mean certainly it's not a normal week, but we made the most of it, and we went through and we walked through everything, and you prepare them the best you can, and ultimately, look, they did some things over there offensively, ran the ball pretty good. We couldn't stop them, but then offensively, man, we got to be able to step up, and we didn't do that. We turned the ball over. I mean, look, we were in that game now. We're in the game. We come out after halftime. We turned the ball over in the third quarter. We talk about going down and scoring and we had a little momentum, and we get the momentum back, and we did just the opposite. So now we turn it over, and they score, and offensively, we could never give this team life again, and I felt like that's where we needed to be really good, and no, defense, we certainly didn't do well enough in the run game. That's where it started. But I think offensively we needed to be better too, with where we were at.
How much did the lack of practice time, particularly for your defensive linemen this week, play into some of the run game struggles?
Yeah, I mean, look, I just told the team it's the same thing. It's going to be hard for me to say that that's the issue. What we had to do was not ideal, but we were prepared to come in this game with the guys that we had, and we had a game plan ready to go, and we knew what we needed to do, and we didn't do it. It was too many mistakes, or we're right there to make a play, we don't make the play. So we weren't good enough.
Maybe one bright spot was Craig Reynolds. Just his performance.
Yeah, I thought Craig ran hard. Thought he did some things, and honestly, I don't think anybody on the staff is surprised. We like Craig. We thought he would do a good job, and certainly he did. So that was, I thought he did well. I thought Nikel Roby came in when we lost Jerry, and we put him outside, and he's not naturally an outside corner, but he went out there and held his own a little bit and fought and battled, and appreciated that.
Why was Jamar not available because of the flu, and why use Craig as the number 1 back, I guess?
Yeah, Craig had been, he's been at practice. He's been good, I mean, Jamar had the ankle and everything, and he started the week. He was another kid. He had flu, and so he wasn't even around. And so we trusted Craig.
You mentioned Jerry. That one didn't look good when it happened. Any update there? Is that one pretty severe?
We'll know more tomorrow, but yeah, it probably doesn't look too good. I don't know who patient 0 is.
I mean, regardless of patient 0 or 2, are you confident in the measures that you guys have taken and the steps and following the proper protocols to make sure that?
I'd like to think that. I mean, hell, we split the building, and some of them came in to lift on Tuesday. We didn't even have the whole team there, and then Wednesday so I felt like we had already gone above and beyond. That was for the flu, much less COVID. So yeah, I feel like we're doing all we can do with what it is. I don't know what else to do.
Are there additional precautions you're looking
Well, I don't know. I mean, certainly, it's a good thing is we all tested negative on the flight. The same group that played today, we were all negative, and so hopefully it stays that way. But you know, we'll be safe, and tomorrow we'll just probably bring in the guys that are injured and you know that need to be in there, and everybody else. I would imagine we'll probably keep them home and then certainly we'll hear from the league, see what they say. They may not let anybody in the building, which you know I get it.
I know you don't want to use excuses, but it was such a different week. I mean, you feel like things were just stacked against you today, just not having all the guys you did, not having the practice time. There's so many reasons why that could maybe explain this.
I don't, look, here's what, what I think about honestly, Dave, is we come out at a halftime and we got momentum and we just ran it 2 plays in a row and did really good and we fumble the ball. And I'm like, we may take that all the way down and score a touchdown, then what? Then what happens? And so it's hard for me to say, well, everything was stacked against us. I'm like, man, I can't think that way. So look, it wasn't ideal and we made too many mistakes for, however it wants to, we want to look at it, but it just, wasn't good enough.
Dan, did Vic talk to you at the start of the game about the missing man, 10 formation?
He reached out to me yesterday.
Okay. You were cool with that?
Yeah, which I appreciated, and that was for him. That was for DT. That's who I did that for.
Anything else, guys?
Okay, guys.
We're going to scratch and claw and fight. And we're going to be something this city's proud of. We aren't just the Lions. We're the Detroit Lions. And we're driven by the best. By the people of this city. We are driven by Detroit.
Welcome back into Mile High Stadium, but joined by Lomas Brown. I'm Dannie Rogers. You just heard from head coach Dan Campbell, who said he didn't know what more you could do to paint the picture of this depleted Lions team. This week, Thursday, there were 22 players on the injury report. 21 of them were held out of practice, either due to illness or an injury. So you had these Lions who are battling a flu bug, at least 10 of them battling it this week. That doesn't even include the assistant coaches. And then you had 6 Lions placed on the COVID-19 reserve list. That was as late as Saturday, as the Lions were flying into Denver. The news that Jamal Williams, second running back for this team, was placed on there along with safety Tracy Walker. So depleted Lions team, do you agree with Coach? What more can you do with it?
I mean, I don't know what he could, Danny. He talked about all the precautions that they did, having half of the guys come in. Guys are at home. They're doing virtual things. I don't know what else he could have did to prevent that. And like he even said, everybody on the flight tested negatives. Mm-hmm. So he's hoping that's the same way when they go back. But he don't know if they're going to be allowed in the buildings. It's just so much unknown. And, we're creatures of habits. We like to know everything is going to be just like this. And when you got this unknown coming into play, it can really kind of affect you and affect your preparation and affect the way that you play out on the field.
A lot of unknown. The Lions entered the intensive COVID protocols because of the number that tested positive. 6 of them so far. All doing well that we've heard so far. We'll have more on that coming up this week. And we'll get into the injuries that were suffered in this game as well. But let's go to the final stats of this game. I mean, taking a look at some of the ones that you've been able to see so far, Lomas, which ones are sticking out to you?
Well, I think the thing, if I start on the offensive side of the ball, I thought we'd Reynolds did a great job of running the ball. A guy that hadn't played a lot, but to come in and touch the ball as much as he did and be as productive as he was, I thought he did a great job. You know, I thought some of the linemen played. I thought the linemen played pretty well. They gave Jared Goff the time that he needed. They opened holes when they had to open holes. So I thought up front we did a pretty good job. But again, you know, some of the areas that we got to continue to get better in, you got to keep looking at the wide receiver, quarterback to wide receiver connection. We just have to be able to try to get that, and especially when we're trying to take shots downfield, we got to be able to hit some of those shots that we take.
Taking a look at some of the receivers who gained traction today, of course, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who showed up yet again this week. He had that game-winning touchdown against Minnesota last week. He shows up, targeted 12 times for 8 receptions, 73 yards on the ground. You had Josh Reynolds, who came up a couple of times in big plays. He had 52 yards on the day. Khalif Raymond, only touchdown of the game, he scored. He had 31 touches on the day. Brock Wright, the tight end, who scored his first career touchdown last week. Some more touchdowns, some more touches, as well as Shane Zylstra, who stepped up into that tight end number 2 spot. And you had Craig Reynolds, aka Netflix, and they call him that because he was picked up in training camp, and before he was picked up, he was just on his couch watching Netflix. So Craig Reynolds, actually with a long gain in this one to set up that Khalif Raymond touchdown, he got some touches and he showed up. So you had a lot of reserve players come in that have not seen a lot of action and make some noise because they had to. There was no other choice.
And give those guys credit. When you get your opportunity, you have to be able to take advantage of it. Like you said, all those guys, especially Craig Reynolds, took advantage of the opportunity they got, and now you have to think going forward that the coaches have to try to incorporate them in the game plan, whether the guys get healthy or not. Those are guys that you have to put out on the field because they're being very productive for you. So I'm glad to see Amon-Ra St. Brown have a big game. He seems to be Jared's go-to guy now. So again, they're just trying to develop their chemistry, and hopefully you can keep doing that, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Center Evan Brown was one of the Lions players who had tested positive for COVID-19. He was actually the first one to test positive earlier this week. So in steps Ryan McCollum, who gets his first start at center. He had 1 penalty there on the day. What did you make of his performance?
I was a little nervous, Danny, before the game because we all know that the center is the quarterback of the offensive line. So he makes a lot of calls. He put those guys in positions that they need to do. And we know how important the center quarterback exchange is, getting that snap up to the quarterback. I thought he did a great job. Like you say, just the 1 penalty that he had throughout the game. He was moving his feet well. The Lions seemed to have played well under him. So that was refreshing that he was able to step in and really play a very good game. You know, as long as you don't hear your name called as an offensive lineman, you're doing pretty well.
You sure are. And to add more hits to this run game that had been doing really well, you take out the center Evan Brown due to COVID-19. DeAndre Swift, running back number 1, is out for the 2nd straight week with a shoulder injury. Running back number 2, or running back 1B, he is out. Jamal Williams, because of COVID-19. So the run game, and then you don't have Jamar Jefferson like Coach just mentioned. He's been also dealing with an injury. The run game really didn't have a chance to get started today.
No, it really didn't. And I'm telling you what hurt it too was the turnover that Godwin had. I mean, that was a big turnover.
To start the second half.
Absolutely, Danny, because it was inside our territory. So it gave Denver a short field to work with before they scored the touchdown. But credit to those guys. They run hard. They really do. That's the thing that impresses me about the guys that step in, how hard they're running. And as a lineman, if you know your running backs are going to run that hard, you don't mind getting up there and blocking for the guy. So hopefully Godwin can a little bit more ball security. But again, I think Reynolds really showed himself today.
We just mentioned all of the receiving targets that were present in this game, but you still had tight end TJ Hawkinson, who was out, one of quarterback Jared Goff's favorite targets. But let's hear from the quarterback right now. Goff is standing at the podium.
How tough was the prep?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No one feels bad for us. No one feels sorry for us, including ourselves. We went out here intending to win and came up short. Don't care who was on the field. We had the guys that we believe in and to win and made too many mistakes.
Can you speak to the performance of Craig Reynolds? The guy
Yeah.
that wasn't in the game plan until Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, we've always kind of liked Craig since the preseason. He had some good days. some good games, and you know we've kind of always in the back of our mind said if he ever gets his shot, we believe in him, and he did today. He did some good things, and we'll see where that goes.
I'll talk to game plan. I know you said nobody's gonna put that right, but the game plan and defense, your two pass catching top two guys, Swift and Hawkins, are both on.
Yeah, it provides another challenge, but it's not anything we can't overcome. And I thought today we could have very easily overcome it, and we just made too many mistakes.
Pretty interesting formation on the first touchdown. Give up his
Yeah, it was just a motion. I believe they were in man coverage. Cleve kind of like hides behind the line, goes back the other way, and the guy covering him thinks he's still running, and you know it's kind of a borderline trick play there, and yeah, obviously wide open.
Did you feel like you guys had some momentum coming out
Yeah.
of the locker room at halftime?
Yeah, we did. I mean, really had the momentum. It was 10-14, and we had that 2-minute drive that we were unable to get points on the board or anything, and then they were able to kind of overtake the momentum, get three, and then come out of half. We still felt like we were in a good place, and then just couldn't get anything going.
How did it snowball in that second half and sort of get away? I mean, just couldn't get anything.
Yeah, I mean, we got down there in the tight red. I fall down. You know, we get stuffed. I have a hard time on the keeper to the left, and then the fourth down, we can't find a completion. So it's, yeah, a handful of things, and all mistakes that can be cleaned up.
The passes are getting batted down or rate like they were today.
Yeah, it was a lot, huh?
What's going on?
That's just their defense doing a good job, their D-line getting their hands up.
Similarly, you mentioned you fell down, you got stepped on right in that very first step of the drop back. What falls apart mechanically that something like that happens?
I think it happens probably once a year, and it happened in that situation, unfortunately.
On that next one, the third down play, you mentioned that you get kind of caught in between trying to run or throw there. It seemed like there was maybe a window for one or the other.
Yeah, right. It's exactly what happened. I thought, you know, if I had to do it again, I would have just kind of got some depth and given myself a better chance to make a throw to either of the guys. But went to run. Kareem Jackson made a good job kind of coming up and getting me. I had to backpedal and try to make a throw, and wish I would have made a better throw.
And closing out on the season, 4 games remain. Let's kind of talk about just obviously just take game by game, but just what would be a successful way to end the season for you guys?
4 straight wins. We're trying to win every game. And we got Arizona next week, and we'll deal with whoever we got after that. But it'd be tough to stand up here if I didn't believe in those guys, and I'm just kind of BSing you guys. But I believe in these guys and believe we can win games and believe that we can play with anybody. And I believe in our coaches.
And the way you guys close out this season, can that carry over as you guys are continuing to try to feel for the future?
Sure. Yeah, it can. It can. I think at the end of the day, we're playing for pride and who we are, and I think your character shows up in these last 4 games. You find out a lot about you find out about a lot about people. Sorry, jeez. You guys know what I'm trying to say. In times like this, in times of adversity, and I believe I know who's in that locker room, so I don't believe I'm gonna find anything we don't like. But it does test you.
You made it clear, and Dan made it clear, obviously no excuses, but can you just describe what the week was like? I mean, it seems like anything unlike you've really been part of.
I missed Wednesday, and that was all that was different.
Even with the guys going out, not having.
Yeah, but I mean, injuries and stuff like that happen all the time. On offense, we weren't affected by the COVID bug as much as defensively. But Jamal obviously went out, but injuries on Fridays happen, and it's no different than that. So you got to play with who you got, and unfortunately today we came up short.
What was the practices look like on Thursday? There's no offensive or defensive line there.
7-on-7.
Just all that.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe we did 2 7-on-7 periods. I think we may have done 1 team period or offensive period. I can't quite remember, but yeah, 7-on-7.
And that just doesn't really affect the quarterback's practice maybe as much.
No, I don't think we were affected in practice nearly as much as you guys may think. It was really fairly standard outside of Wednesday.
Just back on the topic of sort of carrying things over from this year and moving forward. You're running your 5th running back essentially today. Your 3rd center. The run game still works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sort of thing carry over to just what's working in that scheme?
Yeah, our O-line is damn good, and so are these running backs. So we've been able to move some guys and find some holes there, and pretty much all year, and that's a good thing to kind of carry with us as we go on through this year and into next. But again, we're focused on who we got next.
Jared, you mentioned it does test you. You kind of went through something similar, I guess, rookie season in terms of where
Yeah.
you stand. What did you learn from that? What do you think this team can learn from this next one?
Yeah, I think you learn a lot about guys. You learn about, who you want in your corner and who you want in your foxhole. And, like I said, I don't think we'll find anyone in this locker room that isn't that way. But I've been on teams before where you find out a lot about guys in certain situations of adversity and situations where it's easier to not play, and it's easier to miss a game, and it's easier to say you don't want to, play in a game because you got something going on. So you find out a lot about guys.
All right, thanks, Jared.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Guys, let's do it Neil here and Josh Wood down the hallway.
Edward Miller?
Josh Wood.
These lines without so many players on both sides of the ball, yet they are not wanting to make excuses for this one, especially quarterback Jared Goff. You just heard he had to miss a day of practice this week, but that was it. He was coming off of the flu. He said his worst day he felt was actually Minnesota Sunday in that win. So he was coming back on the come up from the flu game. However, let's take a look at Jared Goff's stats from today. The pass game has really been elevated in the last couple of weeks. You saw tight end coach Ben Johnson was elevated to, we'll call it pass game coordinator. He's having a lot more input on the pass game. Goff today, 39 attempts, 24 completions, which is good for about 62% completion percentage rate. 215 yards with a touchdown, just one interception. What are you seeing from the pass game that continues to grow?
I see now, Danny, they're willing to try to get the ball downfield. I notice now when Jared looks downfield, he's trying to get it down there. Now, whether the guys get open where he could get it down there, that's another thing. But he's looking down there. Earlier in the year, he wasn't. He was looking to check it down. But now, again, he's looking to try to get explosive plays. And you have to give Ben Johnson a lot of credits, him and Dan Campbell, since they've kind of taken over. You could kind of see the offense trying to explode, trying to be a more explosive offense. Of course, the running game has been there, but I'm glad to see when he looks, he's looking to try to get the ball downfield.
Khalif Raymond was also a big key in this game. The only touchdown scored today. Taking a look at his stats, I mean, they don't jump off at the page at you, but he had 5 targets, 31 yards on 4 catches, averaged 7.8 yards on each catch. Longest catch was 9 yards, and he had that big touchdown. So Khalif to come in there, know that tight end TJ Hawkinson, who is the favorited receiver, was not going to be in there. What did he show you?
Well, the thing I love about Khalif is his route running. Danny, I'm telling you, I made that comment on the radio to Dan that I love the way he sticks his foot in the ground and he comes out of his cuts. And when you're able to do that, you open up the opportunity and the window for your quarterback to get the ball in there. He's such a precise route runner. So I know if he just keeps evolving his game, he'll be one of the guys that Jared Goff looks forward to, especially when you have to have the yardage, when you have to have a third and whatever. He's going to be the guy he's going to try to get the ball to because he's so precise in his routes that he runs. So I think he has a bright future ahead of him if he just keeps progressing along. But I like what I see from him.
Okay, speaking of Khalif Raymond, let's take a look at the play of the game. Lions dig themselves into a 14-0 hole going into the second quarter, and then that pass game lights up. But first, it was the Craig Reynolds run that really set them up, and then this pass on the outside to Khalif Raymond breaks through the end zone for that touchdown, his 3rd touchdown of the season. How did that play out?
That was a great play design. So, Danny, they had one receiver. It was a tight end to that side, and as you can see, once Khalif comes back in motion, that tight end or that wide receiver, he's going to clear out the zone going across that way. So it's nobody. It's just an open field for Khalif to just outrun the safety or whoever that is to the end zone. So it was a great play design. It was great execution by the whole offense, and that resulted in a nice touchdown catch for him.
That is Khalif's 3rd touchdown of the season, like I mentioned. That's the most of his career. He's been in this league for about 5 years, a quieter 5 years, but he's really starting to come on here in Detroit. But it was the 35-yard gain from running back Craig Reynolds that set that play up. How did Craig Reynolds continue to run tough today?
Oh, I love him, man. And his vision. That's what impresses me about these young guys, especially a young guy that doesn't get a lot of snaps. For them to come in, and his vision was on point. I mean, he would stick his foot in the ground and press the front side, but he's always looking to cut it backside. And that's the sign of a good running back, not just sticking with where the play is supposed to go, but you're also looking to where you can go with the ball if that play isn't right there. And that's something that you develop over time. And for a young guy to have that kind of vision right now, it's pretty impressive. It really is.
He came on today. And then you also have linebacker Josh Woods, who came on as well. He had a big game against Minnesota with 8 tackles. He finishes with 14 today. He is at the podium. Let's hear from him.
Business is about winning. So just, excited to get back on the film and, have the opportunity to get better.
We asked him about the run game. They were having a lot of success, starting a lot of drives with 3, 4, 5 straight runs. He obviously put that in the defensive line, starting point. At the second level, what did you guys see as the role?
Ultimate team sport, man. I don't put it on any one position group. The standard's the standard. We all got to play better, and I expect this week, this practice. These practices this week, we'll go ahead and do that.
Stepped into a bigger role with Jalen. Alex goes out earlier in this one. I know you guys are prepared for it, but how did things change with responsibility with you and Derek for the remainder of the game?
I was given the green dot, in charge of communications and all of that. Obviously bigger responsibility, but that's part of the job. So I was ready for it, but just like I said, I want to get better about everything. So just can't wait to get back and get on the film.
What kind of role did you have? Last week, I think you almost doubled your career defensive snap total. This week, you're calling the defense and getting those guys set. How much of a role has it been?
A whirlwind, no doubt, but that's the nature of the business. It's all about opportunity. When it's your time, you got to be ready.
How did you prepare for that? Obviously, Alex was first, Derek, AJ, you talked about him having it at some point. So, how during the week?
During practice, we all have a speaker system in our helmets, so it's just, on game day, only one guy gets it, and obviously, we communicate with each other throughout the game, throughout practice, no matter what. So it's really, no difference except for the fact that it's only one guy in the game, so everybody's looking at you, and it's a little bit of added pressure. But like I said, built for it. So, thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right, guys. Now Craig Reynolds right here. The guy running all this.
Need that.
Welcome back. We're working on our stats right now. There he is, Lomas Brown, putting down his phone so we can hear the press conferences. You just heard from Josh Woods, 13 tackles today. I said 14 earlier, rather. It's again because in the first quarter, linebacker Alex Anzalone goes down with an injury. So how was Josh Woods able to step up and be productive today?
Yeah, he said that he got the green dot, meaning he's the guy responsible for calling plays. He's the guy responsible for lining guys up in their right techniques. And I thought he stepped in and did a great job. Again, man, we just got hit with injuries. You talk about before the game, and then during the game, you losing some of the players that we lost. And we all know that Alex Anzalone is the guy on the defensive side of the ball, but great job by Josh to step in. And man, he was so explosive, Danny. Every time there was some penetration made, it was Josh. He was shooting the gaps when he had to, and when he got the opportunity to tackle guys, he wrapped them up and tackled them. So that was the big difference that I seen between him and a lot of the other guys. We had missed tackles here and there, but when he got up and he made tackles, he made sure the guy went down to the ground.
Josh Woods making his case. We cannot forget to mention that cornerback Jerry Jacobs went down in the first quarter with a knee injury. It did not look good if you were able to catch the replay. He was helped off the field with trainers on both sides of on both sides of them. So it's looking like a knee injury coming. Head coach Dan Campbell says he won't know the extent of it probably until tomorrow. But with knee injuries, you never truly know the extent until you go in and you see what's up. So what kind of loss is that to this defense with Jerry Jacobs?
That's a big loss because he was playing so well. I mean, you just hear the coaches just raving about the strides that he's been making to be a young guy. I mean, raving about him. And he's kind of been the talk of everything, especially back there in that young defensive secondary. So to lose him early in the game, I give the other guys credit for stepping up, but that was a tremendous loss losing him early in the game because he's a guy, again, another guy, when he comes up to tackle you, he's going to get you down to the ground and have been playing great pass defense too. So that was a big loss. Hopefully it won't be for long.
Sure will. That would make it 5 losses to this Lions secondary as of today. The other 4 all put on the COVID-19 list. Okay, let's get to around the NFL league. We're going to check in on some scores. Let's see if there's any shockers today. Chargers get a win over the Giants, 37-21. And not too shocking. You got the Cowboys over the Washington football team, 27-20. You hear your Mike McCarthy
win.
before that?
Yes, that's right. Guaranteed.
You guaranteed that win, and look at what they did. Titans, over the Jags, 20-0. Chiefs over the Raiders, 48-9. Saints getting a big win over the Jets, 30-9. Seahawks getting a big win over the Texans, 33-13, and that's pretty expected. A close one. The Browns pulling out a 24-22 score over the Ravens. I know quarterback Lamar Jackson left that game, so we'll get an update on him. Falcons 29, Panthers 21. Falcons climb almost up to 500 now with that win. Vikings get a 36-28 resounding win over the Steelers. That was on Thursday Night Football. We got to see that. Tonight, coming up, Packers versus Bears. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Aaron Rodgers said he owns them anyway, so.
Well, that'll be good. Let's see what that Bears defense has for them. And then, we got some overtime kickers.
Yes.
I think, one just ended. I can't even tell you which one that was. Bills Bucks are in overtime currently, 27-27. They're locked in at that. That's impressive. Which one did we just miss?
I know it was one that
was it the Cardinals?
No, because they hadn't played yet, the Cardinals.
Cardinals, Rams, that's some Monday Night Football. So we'll get to see that one. Wow, okay. So we will get to see that big Cardinals game Monday night.
And that's a big one.
To be honest, I really like getting to watch our next opponent on Monday Night Football.
And we also need them to win because we want the Rams not to have. Remember, that's draft choice. That's draft for us. So the worse the Rams finish, the better draft choice that we have. So a little intrigue.
So you want the Cardinals to win?
Yes, I do. Even though we're gonna play them next week, Danny, that'd be good. They win Monday night, then we kick their butt next week. What about that? How's that?
Yeah. I mean, whatever's got to happen. Cliff Kingsbury's team off to a 10-2 start. Really, really good. Who sticks out to you on that Arizona Cardinals team?
Kyler Murray. You got DeAndre Hopkins. And that's just on the offensive side of the ball. You go to the defensive side of the ball, Chandler Jones. And, they got the Honey Badger. Not the Honey Badger, but they have the other safety that got ran down by the guy from Seattle. I can't think of his name right now. You see I'm just doing this right now? Thank you. But, Buda Baker. Thank you. But they got some good players over there, a 10-2 record that they have right now. So right now, I think they're the cream of the crop for the NFC.
I feel like it's always a good battle when you have. Okay, the Rams they were really good.
Yeah.
They were really good. They've taken their heaps. Now going up against Arizona Cardinals. I just feel like out west, 2 good teams.
Yes.
It should be a good one. Monday Night Football.
It will be, and like I say, I'm silently pulling for Arizona to win that game because I'm looking at the future for the Lions.
The Lions are too. Now their eyes are going to be set on the Arizona Cardinals. But what are your final takeaways from this Week 14 matchup with the Denver Broncos?
Well, my thing is, Danny, I know Coach doesn't say excuses. He doesn't believe in excuses. We did come into this game shorthanded. A lot of different guys. They had to elevate guys off the practice squad. I like to say that those guys fought. They really did. The game got out of hand late, but they fought and stayed in the game early, and that's all you can ask for. The guys who go out there and give their all. So hopefully we'll get guys healthy and try to get back to our regular roster.
This should be, by the looks of it, the worst week of this flu
Yeah.
bug going
Yes.
around. And like Coach mentioned, everyone in the travel party tested negative for COVID-19 upon arrival here to Denver. So that's it from us here at Mile High Stadium. But one last thing, a very big week for you, Lomas Brown.
Oh, okay.
College
wow.
Football Hall of Famer, man.
Oh, wow.
What?
Wait a minute, let me stick my chest out.
Stick your chest out. You deserve it. The induction ceremony was this past week.
Yeah.
However, you're a part of the 2020 class, but we
Yes.
finally got to give you lots of love. Was that Tuesday?
wow.
You were in Vegas?
Okay, yeah, I was, man.
I'm surprised you made it here.
And look, Danny, they had a billboard for the big fella.
That-
I made it big.
a
I was
big
on
board
the
for the
Las
big
Ve-
fella.
on the Las Vegas Strip.
That's amazing.
There
A
you go.
part of what? The Great Wall of Florida while being a
Yes.
Florida Gator.
Oh my God, yeah.
Dang.
See, you just
Offensive
impressing
tackle.
me. Thank you
I-
so much. I feel the love
You
right
should.
now. I do.
Gosh,
I do.
what? Only the ninth or 12th Gator to
Yeah.
be inducted into the College Football Hall
Yeah,
of
it
Fame.
felt great, especially with being with all those dignitaries, Eric Dickerson, some of the great
Mm-hmm.
players that ever played this game. Just to be alongside those guys, it felt good, Danny.
All right, I'm only introducing you by the College Football Hall of
Thank
Famer,
you,
Lomas
Danny.
Brown, from
Thank
now on.
you.
One of the big men, Great Wall of Florida. That's just awesome to hear. We appreciate what you do for us
Thank
week in
you,
and week out with
Danny.
your phenomenal analysis. Okay, I will send it out now. For Lomas Brown, I'm Danny Rogers. We've got to get our butts back on some planes and head back to Detroit as the Lions get ready to host the Arizona Cardinals there in a big Week 15 matchup. We'll see you there next week.